Hello drums the worders, how's it going? It's Rob Litton here. Hope you're doing well and welcome to my 500th full song lesson. I've been doing this for about 10 years now, over 10 years now, and I finally got around to my 500th full song lesson. Of course there's hundreds more little videos, free videos on the website and on my YouTube channel already, but the 500 lessons are the full song lessons where I teach you a song from start to finish. Every single bar is included. You get the fully transcribed drum chart with each song. And this is my 500th. And it was a popular one over on my Facebook page. So today I'm going to show you how to play the song Symphony of Destruction by Megadeth, drummed by Nick Menza. And you can download all 4 pages of the PDF chart for free from my website. This 500th lesson is going to be a free one. So have all 4 pages printed out in front of you as we go through this together. It's going to make things a lot easier for you to understand. If you want to make your own song suggestions, then please go over to my Facebook page or find a link to my Facebook page beneath this video. That's the best place to do it. You'll see a post where I ask for your song suggestions, type them below, then others get to vote on them and the most popular songs get chosen for future lessons, just like this one was today. So let's crack on. We got quite a simple groove here. Just from the start, I just want to say just how cool Nick's snare drum sounds on this song. It's such a tight, loud, I can't think of the adjectives to describe it, but a really cool snare drum sound. That little by the side there, but I did like that. That lovely snare drum sound of his. So the song starts with a little bit of orchestral part, and then the drums come in with this little drum fill. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So flam on beat 4 and 4 and. But the bass drum there coming in on the and of beat 3. 1, 2, 3 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Then we're into our first groove. And for most of the song it's just basically this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. So really drumming 101. This lesson could be a beginner lesson, but because of the tempo and because of some of the odd times, some of the half-time stuff, it sort of moves it to a more intermediate level. But most of this song, a beginner, with a little bit of relaxation with the right hand, should be able to play most of this song. So we get that groove at the beginning, and just to say that I've written it as closed hi-hat, but Nick has, like a lot of metal rock drummers, have sort of a in-between closed and half open. They sort of have like a sizzle effect, and so throughout this song, even though I've said it's closed, it's not tight closed, it's sort of just ever so slightly open, creating like a little sizzle effect. But then when it is fully open, you hear it more. But I just want to say that's what's going on there. So it's actually sort of very slightly open hi-hat, even though I've written it as closed. Anyway, that's all the besides out the way. The first line ends with bar 5 with this repeating idea. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. So we get this 4 bar pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, bar 2, bar 3, and then bar 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. It's 3 and 4 at the end of every 4 bars. So that first line, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't worry, I won't do this for every bar, every line. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1. And that 4 bar pattern gets repeated for the next 3 lines of the verse. So we've got 4 lines in each verse. The last line, each line starts with a crash cymbal, by the way. The last line though, bar 4, we have this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So our first offbeat snare and our first offbeat crash band stab. There's quite a few of these throughout the song. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we get this crash cymbal on the and of beat 4 and 4 and. Then when Nick comes into the bridge, we skip over the bass drum on beat 1 because that crash cymbal on the and of 4 occurred, and we come in with the bass drum again on the and of beat 1. Now I've written the first note of the bridge 1 as a closed hi-hat note. You could leave out that hi-hat note and just come in with the hi-hat with the bass drum on the and of beat 1 if you wanted to. You're not having to be forced to go back to the hi-hat immediately for that one note on beat 1. Although Nick does on the recording, you could certainly leave it out. So we get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 going into that second, going into bridge 1 there. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Then the bar sort of resolves back on the downbeat, beat 3s, with the bass drum goes boom, beat 3, back to the downbeats. 1 and 2, 3, 4. That's kind of tricky. Perhaps you want to loop that round a few times. So bar 4 into bar 1 there. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4. Just get used to it and comfortable with that. Then, going on to bridge 1, just did the first bar there. We get this bar occurs every 2 bars pretty much throughout the bridges. We get the second bar here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. So it's 3 and, but that open hi-hat on the and of 3, 3 and, it then closes with the snare drum on its own. If you want to play the hi-hat with the snare drum on beat 4, that's fine, but the reason Nick doesn't is so his right hand has time to move to a crash cymbal quite smoothly. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. So you're not having to play that hi-hat on beat 4, gives your right hand time to move to a crash. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, 3, and 4, and. So when we go into bar 3, you can hear we skip over that beat 1 again. So it might be useful to create a 2-bar loop, as Nick does in the bridges, bars 1 and 2 looped around a few times. Perhaps start on beat 2, bar 2, so you get the downbeat. So bar 2 into bar 1, loop it round. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, and 2, 3, 4. So that 2-bar pattern gets repeated for bars 3 and 4. The second line, again, bars 1 and 2, but bar 3 has that same bar again. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and. So that occurs one more time there before the final bar. And this was quite tricky for me to transcribe because all the toms are very low pitched. They sound very similar to each other. So the rhythm's correct, it's just what toms he's using. So I've notated it as you come in on the and of beat 1, which is what Nick does, on your highest tom, 1 and, with a flam. 1 and Nick plays a flam on that first note. 1 and, then down to your next highest tom, 2 and, 2 notes. This is what I've written. I'll talk about simplifying it in a second. Then your next lowest tom, 3 and, then I think he plays 4 and, that last note there on his lowest tom. So he's probably got 4 toms. Most of these metal rock drummers have at least 4 toms. If you've only got 2 toms, then you could play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, split up any way you like. If you've only got 3 toms, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, just play all the final notes on that floor tom. But I think he plays 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 ands. So we get this descending tom pattern. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I like to play it with just right hand because it's not so fast. You don't have to worry about alternating hands. So another little tricky section there. Bars 3 and 4 perhaps looped. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And I don't know why I counted the and of 4 there as 1. Been doing this long enough. 10 years, have I mentioned that? 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1. And again. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it's kind of hard, it makes it a little bit tricky to count out loud. If you've got the melody of the song in your head, blam, bam, 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 because that drum fill goes with the guitar. So it's just a case of how you spread it up over the toms, but go down the toms and it will sound like the recording. But I think what I just showed you there was what Nick's playing on the recording. So then we go on to chorus 1 with the ride cymbal. And after that drum fill on the and of beat 4, the crash cymbal on the and of beat 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Again, we do the ideas previously in the song where we skip over beat 1 with the bass drum. We're going to the ride cymbal, and Nick does this really cool little double kick lick at the beginning of each chorus. 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 3, and the beat resolves back on beat 3. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. You do those 2 bars. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what I'm doing there naturally is coming off the hi-hat for the and of beat 1, giving my right hand time to move to the crash cymbal. I'm pretty sure that's how Nick would have played it as well. It's quite hard to hear on the recording. I've written the ride cymbal there on the and of 1. Leave it out if you wanted to and do what I did there. If you want to play those 2 bass drums with double kick, absolutely fine, although it's not so fast that the intermediate to advanced drummer shouldn't be able to play those with 1 pedal. But if you want to play with double pedal, perhaps Nick does as well, I'm not sure, absolutely fine. But it's a really cool little lick that, love it. Beginning of each chorus. So we go on to bars 2 and 3, just basically 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we get this bar 4, 1, 2, and. So our beginning of sort of a half-time fill, where we skip over snare drum on 2 and move it to beat 3. 1 and 2 and. So that bass drum replaces the snare drum on beat 2. 1, 2 and. Then he plays 3 and 4. If you've got 2 crash cymbals, great, because that's to give that section a bit of variant in sounds. You could just play it with 1 crash cymbal though. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. Then we go on to the next line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 bars of that. The fourth bar though, we get this other repeating drum fill throughout the song with the symphony. It's 1 and 2, beat 3, 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3. So you can use your 2 lowest toms. I'm going to use these toms. If you want to use those, fine, but use your 2 lowest toms. So I should be using those, but I'm going to use these. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And I think he plays the bass drum on beat 1 with that first note. We get this crash on beat 3, and then crash on beat 1 going into verse 2. So that's pretty much the main part of the song. We've got a half-time bit coming up later. So let me play for you the whole of verse 1, bridge 1 and chorus 1 up to speed without me nattering on over the top so you can hear just the drums. Here we go. So for verse 2, we got exactly the same structure as verse 1. Crash at the beginning of each line, the 3 and on the bass drum in bar 4. Going over to page 2 where verse 2 continued. Verse 2 continued comes out the same way with 1, 2, 3 and 4 ands. Bridge 2, as any great drummer does, all the legendary drummers, what they do is they come up with a drum part for each section of the song. They don't have to stick to it, but the best drummers, in my opinion, do stick to that one pattern. It becomes like a melody. If the guitarist is soloing over every single verse and chorus, you're not picking up like a repeating pattern. And great drummers know that a drum part can also be seen as a melodic part as well, or heard as a melodic part. And so they come up with a cool drum part that works for the song, and then why change it every time you play the next bit? And if it's exactly the same melody, the drum part should feel the same. So this is what Nick does, and he's very, very good at this in this song. I'm not really a massive fan of Megadeth, but I've heard some of their other stuff. And Nick's a profesh where he comes up with a part and it works and he sticks with it. And so bridge 2 is exactly the same as bridge 1 in every sense. Same structure, same ideas going on. So that makes it easier for me to explain. Then chorus 2, part 1. We got a part 1 this time. Chorus 2, part 1 is the ride cymbal part, exactly the same as chorus 1. But then part 2, we get the first time we go into this halftime section. So halftime is simply where we're basically playing one snare drum backbeat in the bar, usually on beat 3. In this case, it's on beat 3, but also in bar 4, as we see in bar 2 in a second. Beat 4 in bar 2 in a second. But basically, we're just playing one snare drum backbeat. The tempo hasn't changed. It just feels like we got slower because we've taken out the backbeats on 2 and 4. The tempo didn't change. It's just where the snare drum is. So we get this halftime, quarter notes on the open hi-hats, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Bass drum dancing in between the hi-hats there. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Bar 2 though, reverses it, well not reverses it, it's just we move the snare drum backbeat to beat 4 now. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. So, loop those 2 bars. Get used to that feel. Bar 3 and 4, slightly different. 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1. And then bar 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4. I've written snare, that tom, but it could be, or you're going down the toms basically, and 3 and 4 into a crash. Use any sticking you like. I use right, because it's not so fast. So we get 1, 2 and 3 and 4. It's actually left, right, because 1, 2 and 3 and 4. On to beat 4. Then the next line, we go back to bars, well, we basically play the first 4 bars again. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. I don't know why that threw me off. Bars 3 and 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And then the last 2 bars there, just for 1 bar, we go back to 8th notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Snare drum backbeat on 2 and 4 again. And then the last bar is the 1 and 2 and 3 idea again, but it ends with 3 and 4 ands. So 2 offbeat, well, offbeat crash on the and of 4 there. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Straight in with those snare drums. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Then we're into guitar solo, which skips over beat 1. We're playing 1 and 2, 3, 4, and then just 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4th bar has that offbeat crash on the and. 1, 2, 3, 4 ands. And if I remember correctly, page 3, the guitar solo continued. We go into another halftime fill, just for 2 bars. So we get for that first bar, skipping over beat 1 on the bass drum because that previous crash cymbal. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Very similar for bar 2. 1 and 2 and 3, but he goes 3 and 4 and. So we get the snare drum on 4 at this time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then bars 1 and 2 back to double time or normal time. 1 and 2, 3, 4. Bar 4 has this cool little drum fill. 1, 2, 3. On the recording you hear 1, 2, 3, 4 and. But actually, if you listen very carefully, and I found an isolated drum chart of Nick's part here, you could hear that he's actually playing 3 and a 4. There's a little snare drum though just before the of 3. Basically he's playing and a 4, but that first note is ghosted. So you only really hear the left-right. I'm playing 3 notes there, but you're only really hearing the 2 notes because of accents. So if you wanted to play it as Nick does, you've got to be able to play 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4 ands. Or if you want to make it easy for yourself, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Play the and of 3 on the hi-hat instead of the snare drum as a ghost note and just come off. That'll work just as well, and it will sound like the recording because you don't really hear the ghost note on the actual recording. So that's quite tricky, that line. There's a lot of stuff going on there. So beginning of the line, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 ands. Then line 2 we get basically the same as our first line. 1 and 2, 3, 4 ends with 1, 2, 3, 4 ands. Excuse me, a little bit of spit down the wrong way. What professional 500th video this is turning into. Then the last line, we get the half-time 2-bar thing again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Back to double time or normal time. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how simply that guitar solo ends. Then we go into verse 3 where I've written closed hi-hat. So before we do, let me go back to page 2. I'll play chorus 2, part 2, and then all 4 lines of the guitar solo so we can hear that as well. So back to page 3, verse 3, guess what? Exactly the same structure as our previous verses, all 4 lines. Bridge 3, exactly the same structure as we had for the previous bridges. So on to page 4, chorus 3, part 1, ride cymbal, exactly the same structure as our other choruses with the ride cymbal, etc., etc. Then chorus 3, part 2, exactly the same with the structure. Let me just double check something. Yep, even the last two bars are even exactly the same with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3. The song ends differently though. The last bar, we get 3 choked crash cymbals on 1 and 2 and. You've got to have quite a fast hand for this, because he chokes each individual crash cymbal. 1 and, 1 and. So 1 and, 1 and 2 and 3. It's quite tricky for me to do that comfortably. So we get the end of the song, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. That's how the song ends. So before we finish, let me play for you just chorus 3 part 2 to the end of the song, up to speed. So I hope you had fun with that. If you've got any questions, email me, rob@drumstheword.com. Don't forget to download all 4 pages of the PDF drum chart from my website for free. Again, you'll find the link beneath this video. And you might want to consider signing up to become an online member at my website. And what I currently offer for $97 is a full year's online access to every single full video song lesson I've ever recorded and transcribed. And as I've already said, that is 500 full song lessons. As a thank you for signing up, I give you access to even more. I'll give you hundreds of little videos teaching you many, many, many famous drum beats, fills, and even drum solos. I'll give you 3 ebooks I've written over the years containing hundreds more famous beats, fills, and solos. And then over the year of your subscription, you also gain instant online access to all the new material that I upload for my members. And I record new lessons every week unless I'm ill or on holiday. So you've got lots of cool stuff to look forward to over the year of your subscription. But if you've got any questions about any of this, then email me, rob@drumstheword.com. And until our next drum lesson together, toodle pip and happy drumming to you.